They say tech belongs to the young, but what happens when the man who built the foundation of the code they now stand on refuses to fade away? If you've ever felt forgotten, outdated, or overlooked, stay till the end. And if this story hits your heart, don't just scroll, subscribe, because stories like this are for the ones still fighting their silent battles. I'm a middle-aged developer, and my time to shine is setting. At least, that's what they whisper behind closed conference doors, what recruiters imply when they tell me I'm overqualified, or that my experience doesn't fit the culture. I used to laugh at those words when I was younger, thinking experience was a badge of honor, not a weight. But now, at 46, sitting in front of a glowing monitor at 2:17 a.m., with my teenage daughter's laughter fading down the hall and my eyes burning from another day of rejection emails, I feel the truth of that unspoken sentence. The world moves fast, and it doesn't wait for anyone. I started coding back when the internet still squealed through dial-up tones, when websites were static and JavaScript was a whisper of chaos. Back then, I was unstoppable, nights spent debugging until dawn, the hum of ambition louder than any sleep. I helped build startups that soared and others that sank, wrote systems that still quietly run in the background of companies that don't even know my name anymore. I wasn't a legend, but I mattered. And that was enough, until the world changed, and I didn't change fast enough with it. Frameworks came and went, the languages evolved, syntaxes modernized, paradigms shifted from imperative to reactive, and somewhere between all that noise, I got left behind. It wasn't for lack of trying. God knows I tried, but every time I learned one new framework, 10 more popped up like weeds. And in meetings, when younger developers tossed around terms like serverless functions, micro front ends, or edge computing, I'd nod along, pretending to understand, while secretly Googling in my head. Pride can be a dangerous comfort. For years, it shielded me from admitting I was falling behind. Until the day I got laid off. It was supposed to be a regular Monday. I'd been with the company for 9 years, a small but steady software firm that built internal tools for banks. I'd trained half the people there, mentored them, helped them debug their messes when production caught fire. I thought loyalty still meant something. But when HR called me into the room, I already knew. The look on their faces said it all, a mix of discomfort and scripted empathy. Restructuring, they said, a shift toward modern tech stacks. You've been an incredible asset, they said, like a eulogy at a funeral. I packed my things quietly, the coffee mug with the faded, #1 dev print, the tiny plant my daughter gave me, and the small, dusty USB drive that had my life's work. Nobody even looked up as I left. Walking out of that building, I didn't feel angry. Just empty, like someone had erased my name from the source code of existence. For weeks, I woke up to nothing. No meetings, no code to review, no reason to open my laptop except to scroll through job portals filled with positions I was suddenly unqualified for. Must have 3+ years of experience with Next.js. Proficient in AI-driven development tools. Experience with blockchain integration. Each line felt like another door closing. But I couldn't quit. I had a mortgage, a daughter about to start college, and a wife who believed in me even when I didn't believe in myself. So I started over, slowly. I watched tutorials at night, read documentation like gospel, built tiny projects nobody would ever see. I learned React, TypeScript, and Node.js. I built clones of apps I admired just to understand how they worked. Every line of code felt like climbing a mountain barefoot, but I climbed anyway. Still, the interviews didn't come. Companies wanted young blood, fast minds, and cheap salaries. I was none of those. But then, one night, as I was reading an article about the rise of AI copilots in coding, something inside me sparked. If I couldn't outrun the change, maybe I could build something within it. So I started building an app, something personal, something meaningful. It was called Legacy, a platform for developers to store not just their code, but their journey, the lessons, the failures, the logic behind every decision. Because what I realized after all these years was that the future didn't need more code, it needed more understanding. Legacy was meant to be that bridge. I spent months working on it, often coding after dinner while my family slept. Every bug fixed was a tiny victory, every deploy felt like redemption. I poured everything I had into it. Not just skill, but memory, emotion, and the silent language of persistence. I didn't have investors or a team, just an old laptop and a heart that refused to quit. But one night, I hit a wall, not technical, emotional. The app crashed after a major update, wiping weeks of work. I sat there staring at the blank screen, feeling that old whisper again, "Your time to shine is setting." I could almost see my younger self across the room, shaking his head, disappointed. I closed the laptop, walked outside, and stood under the streetlight. The world was quiet, the night air cold. I thought about giving up. About selling the laptop, taking a simple job, and letting the dream fade. But then I remembered something. My daughter's words from a few weeks ago. "Dad," she'd said, "you taught me that coding is about solving problems, not quitting when they show up." Those words replayed in my head like a mantra. So I went back inside, reopened the laptop, and started debugging. Line by line, error by error, until the app ran again. Smoother, faster, alive. And that night, for the first time in months, I smiled. Legacy was working. I posted about it on a small developer forum, not expecting much. But the next morning, my inbox exploded. Hundreds of developers from around the world resonated with it. "Man, this is what I needed," one wrote. "I thought I was the only one feeling left behind." Another said, "This gave me hope." The story of Legacy spread faster than I ever imagined. Tech blogs wrote about it. Older developers began sharing their experiences, creating profiles, uploading stories. Legacy became a movement, a place for those who thought they were done, to begin again. Within a year, I was invited to speak at a conference. Standing on that stage, looking out at hundreds of faces, young and old, I realized something profound. It was never about age. It was about relevance, and relevance is built by those who never stop learning. I told them the truth. That I'd failed more than I'd succeeded, that I'd felt invisible more times than I could count, but that I'd learned something more valuable than any framework: resilience. Because in tech, the only thing that truly gets outdated is arrogance. Curiosity, humility, and persistence never expire. After the talk, people lined up to shake my hand. One young developer said, "You made me believe I don't have to burn out by 30. Another, an older one, said with tears in his eyes, "You made me want to code again." I flew home that night feeling lighter than I had in years. My daughter met me at the airport, holding a sign that said, "My dad, the legend." And for once, I felt like I was. Today, Legacy has thousands of users. I don't make millions, but I've built something that matters, a place where experience has value again. I mentor young developers, collaborate with old ones, and remind everyone that coding isn't about keeping up, it's about showing up. Every single day, my hands ache sometimes, my eyesight isn't what it used to be, but when I type, I still feel that same rush I did 20 years ago, the spark of creation, the whisper of possibility. Maybe my time to shine is setting. But sunsets, I've learned, are just preludes to another dawn. And as long as there's code to write, stories to tell, and people to inspire, I'll keep typing. Because being a developer isn't about being the fastest or the youngest. It's about being the one who refuses to stop building, even when the world thinks you're done. And maybe, just maybe, that's how you shine forever. If this story touched your soul, if you've ever felt left behind, overlooked, or underestimated, don't let that spark die. Subscribe, share, and join the movement of creators who never gave up. Your experience isn't obsolete, it's your superpower. Keep learning, keep building, and remember, the code never forgets those who wrote it with heart. PC Fire.